You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Thursday, March 5th, 2020. Sure happy it's Thursday. Sure happy it's Thursday. Sure happy it's Thursday. We have a lot to talk about today. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials, keeping us out of trouble, ready to answer the phone when you call on in. So let's get right on into it. Now, Elizabeth Warren has formally dropped out of the presidential race. She had a little press conference outside of her home where she was fighting back the tears and saying there is no path to the nomination at this point. She has not yet decided who she's going to endorse, and I think she's basically biding her time and trying to figure out where she should hitch her wagon. And I think she has it in the back of her mind that she still might be considered as a vice president. So we're going to be looking at that. I still want to see Tulsi Gabbard as vice president. But Tulsi is still in the race here. Now, oddly enough, over in Texas, Pierce Bush lost the Texas congressional primary. And the reason this is significant, in Texas, the Bushes always win. And this is the first Bush to lose in Texas in 40 years. And they lost to a pro-Trump candidate. So this is Pierce Bush. He's the grandson of George Herbert Walker Bush, and the latest member of the dynasty to run for office. So Bush was running to represent Texas 22nd District, which covers suburban Houston, Fort Bend. County Sheriff Troy Nehis, Rented Lips Nels, and businesswoman Kathleen Wall came in first and second and will compete in a May runoff. Bush came in third. Kind of significant there. Okay, so much for legacy. All right, everybody is still talking about Chuck Schumer with what seemed to be a threatening message to two of the Supreme Court justices, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. And it does sound threatening, where he's out there saying you're going to reap the whirlwind and you will pay a price and you'll never know what hit you, so forth and so on, which sounded threatening. Now, Schumer was on the verge of being censured. So he got up there and he apologized for what he said and said that really wasn't the words that he meant to come on out with, and that all he was talking about was public relations and political consequences if they go forward on the decision to uphold this law that's before the bench right now. But Trump is demanding Schumer be punished for what Trump perceives as threats, and so do I. I mean, that was pretty strong language, and I think Schumer went over the line here. And so Trump is demanding that serious action must be taken now. Now, a Schumer spokesman came on out and said, it's a warning. It's not a threat. It's a warning. So Justin Goodman, who's the spokesman for Schumer, issued this statement regarding Schumer's threatening comments and made it this pro-choice rally in front of the court. And of course, the case before the court is June Medical Services, LLC versus Russo. Okay, let me mute that here. Oh boy, the stock market did not do well today. More about that later in the show here. Now, Chief Justice John Roberts, who normally maintains a very low public profile, actually came on out and issued a statement calling Schumer's comments inappropriate and dangerous. And this is a direct quote from the Chief Justice. Justices know that criticism comes with the territory, but threatening statements of this sort from the highest levels of government are not only inappropriate, they are dangerous. All members of the court will continue to do their job without fear or favor from whatever quarter. I agree. Schumer went over the line there. He went really, really over the line. Josh Hawley is going to file for censure. We don't know if he's changed his mind since Schumer's apology. Yeah, Schumer went over the line here. All right, do you remember where Tulsi Gabbard sued Google for violating her free speech rights by suspending her presidential campaign ads. Judge Stephen Wilson threw the case out, basically saying Google is not the government and therefore cannot be held liable for violating her First Amendment rights. And that, unfortunately, I think is a very, very bad precedent, because if we have to have freedom of speech, it must be absolute across all of society. And if we allow this to stand where private companies are not bound by the Bill of Rights, you can see where that might lead. All the government has to do is set up a company that takes over some aspect of our communication or our gun rights or our right to privacy. And they can say, that's not the government, it's a private company. They can do whatever they want. And when you have companies that are running your life rather than the government, that is fascism. And speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, once again, she's qualified for the next debate. I think she's pretty much the only person left in the Democratic running besides Biden and Bernie Sanders. So the DNC wants to change the debate threshold yet again to keep Tulsi Gabbard off that stage. I mean, this orchestrated campaign against Tulsi Gabbard, you know, it is so much more obvious, more heavy-handed than anything we've seen against Sanders. All right, we're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining our network. And here's another little article talking about how Bernie Sanders' comments about the Cuban literacy campaign were bang spot on. And he made a valid comment. When Castro came to power, his goal was to improve the lives of the Cuban people. And one of the ways to do that was to improve the educational system, to improve literacy, to improve their health care. All of these, I mean, call me silly, they seem like good things. But of course, Bernie's opponents, the Biden camp, if you will, especially, and the corporate media all jumped on, how can you defend that evil dictator down there in Cuba who took Cuba away from us? They used it to discredit Bernie Sanders, but he was right. He was right. And you know what's really ironic? In 2016, Obama said the same thing, celebrating Cuba's hard-won national education system. Do you remember that Michael Moore movie where they were talking about healthcare? Where he tried to take this seriously injured, I think it was a veteran, down to Cuba. He basically took a boat and went up to the Cuban territorial waters and said, you know, we want this guy to be taken care of in your hospitals because your hospitals are better than the American hospitals. And unfortunately, they got turned away. But the point was made. All the things that are going wrong in Cuba, the lack of cars, the poverty, is a result of this, 60-year embargo? It's insane, absolutely insane. Okay, over in North Carolina, the gun rights champion Mark Robinson wins the Republican nomination for lieutenant governor. And basically came out there saying, we're the majority. And apparently he became a national sensation when this video went viral last year, showing him at a city council meeting in Greensboro, where he was championing the rights of law-abiding gun owners. That really is an issue here. The liberals have made such a stink about confiscating guns and gun control that ordinary Americans, law-abiding Americans, are pushing back. Now, the criminals, of course, they're all in favor of gun control because it won't affect them. It just disarms their victims. So anti-gun is pro-crime. If you think about it, that's a very valid statement here. All righty. Remember Jeff Sessions? Well, apparently, he lost his election to Coach Tommy Tuberville in the Alabama Senate race. There is a runoff set for the 31st of this month. All right, so getting on back to the Supreme Court, Chief Justice John Roberts is dropping hints that, unlike 4 years ago when he sided with the conservatives on a major abortion case, he might abandon them and side with the liberal justices on the current case before the court, the one that's resulted in Chuck Schumer's threatening comments here. And good old Whoopi Goldberg, she's out there again, just throwing her particular point of view at everybody. Quote, she's a hell of a doctor, end quote. And what Whoopi is saying, she wants Dr. Jill Biden to be the next Surgeon General, which sounds good. Oh, yes, she's hooked up with the president, right out of the Tom Clancy books, where Jack Ryan becomes president and his wife, who's now the first lady, is a doctor. There's only one small little problem with that. Jill Biden's doctorate is in education, not medicine. But over there on The View, apparently they're out there saying, oh, yeah, we got to find, government jobs for all of Joe's family. Now, a lot of people are commenting on how Biden botched the famous quote from the Declaration of Independence. Now, this is a direct quote from the vice president. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created by the thing. That's what he said. Now, for those of you who are wondering why that's a big issue, this is what he should have said. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you want, I can recite the rest of this thing because it's one of the things I memorized when I was in school. But it does, again, with all these other gaffes about Super Thursday and running for the Senate, and I'm sorry, the man comes across as brain damaged, and I don't want damaged brains in the Oval Office, which is why come November, I'm going to grit my teeth and I'm going to back Donald Trump again, because at least his gray matter seems to be in order. Biden's going to be a front man. He's going to be an obedient little poodle, and he's going to do what the people behind him tell him to do. Probably not going to make all that many speeches. He's going to be like Reagan during Reagan's second term, when Reagan was dealing with Alzheimer's, and everybody around him, including Vice President Bush, were actually running the government and just using him as a facade. Now, Biden himself may have troubles from another quarter because over in Ukraine, they're starting an investigation into whether Biden violated the law when he forced the March 2016 firing of the country's chief prosecutor. Now, I don't know what the extradition arrangements are between Ukraine and the United States of America, but it's certainly not going to look good in the newspapers. All right, so let's talk about the coronavirus. Apparently, we're now up to 12 deaths in the United States, which, again, not a big deal. More people have died testifying against the Clintons than have died in the United States from the coronavirus. But the potential for this to get worse cannot be ignored and should not be ignored. Now, over in China, security personnel at the train stations and the airports and the buses, they've all been given these new helmets. And the helmets feature an infrared temperature detector. Basically, it's a thermograph. And there's a little computer chip in there that reads the temperature of people and actually flashes the number, right on top of them, 39 degrees centigrade or whatever. And they want to spot people who are running a fever in order to intercept them and get them tested. And great that somebody had that helmet, and great that the Chinese are deploying it. Oh. All right, Washington County, with 39 coronavirus cases, advises all of its 2.2 million residents to work from home. That includes people like Amazon and Microsoft. They're telling everyone over 60 to stay indoors. And they're even saying, when you go to the polls, don't lick your ballots, because you don't know what those poll workers have in terms of illnesses, so forth. And all but one of the deaths in the United States have been up there in Washington, in King County. The Department of Homeland Security has closed their office in the state of Washington. It's been closed for 2 weeks after an employee fell ill with COVID-19. And apparently he had contracted the virus after visiting a relative at a nursing facility, which is experiencing an outbreak of COVID-19. It's nasty stuff out there. Iran's first vice president, remember, Iran has two vice presidents. The first vice president has the coronavirus. Apparently, the coronavirus has infected 8% of the members of parliament, and Iran has released 54,000 prisoners to help stop it from spreading. And again, commenting on the fact that where the coronavirus is impacting most severely happen to be the two countries that the United States has on their does not get a Christmas card list: China and Iran. So I'm not the only person who's getting suspicious about this. Apparently, Iranians were told that Friday prayers are going to be canceled in the capital and other areas as the death toll became the highest from the virus outside of mainland China. Now, an Iranian general, Brigadier General Gholam Reza Jalili, is out there saying that the coronavirus is a man-made bioweapon. And he's not the only person who's out there saying it. We've known earlier that the coronavirus, COVID-19, has the protein spikes normally found on the HIV virus, which allow it to bind much more tightly to cells in order to inject the viral RNA into the cell. So the general said a study of the consequences of the virus in terms of tolls or the extent of the epidemic and the type of media propaganda over this issue that is aimed at increasing fear and panic among people strengthens the speculations that a biological attack has been launched against China and Iran with economic goals. More and more people are becoming suspicious. We're wondering what's going on. And again, we know the United States government has the capability. A lot of countries have the capability. Even CDC's been working on this kind of stuff for a while. I remember back during the When Pigs Fly flu, we were looking at that one back in 2009, and I found an article published by the CDC talking about, splicing different flus together to create whole new pathogens. And I remember scratching my head and saying, why are they doing that? Not like you can sell that. Certainly a very dangerous thing to be doing. Anyway, as I mentioned before, Microsoft Corporation has joined the growing number of companies asking employees to work from home to limit exposure to the coronavirus outbreak. Right now, it's the entire state of Washington is being told, if you don't have an absolute need to be in your office or place of employment, work from home. Now, they've had a coronavirus death down in California. It's the first one outside the state of Washington. And apparently, this patient tested positive for COVID-19 after returning from a cruise to Mexico last month, and he has now died. Now, what's interesting is he was traveling on a cruise ship, a Princess cruise ship, and it departed February 10th from San Francisco and sailed to Mexico, returning February 21st. Now, the reason that is significant is because the exact same ship is now anchored in San Francisco Bay and not being allowed to dock. And the passengers on board are not going to be allowed to disembark from the ship until they're tested for coronavirus. And as a side note, boy, can you get a deal on ocean cruises now. Same thing with plane travel. We talked about that yesterday here. All righty, story that came out originally in strategicculture.org. Who made the coronavirus? And of course, what we get in the corporate media is, it came from this wild bat that was consumed by an ethnic Chinese resident of Wuhan. And then from there, it infected the fish market. And from there, the fish market infected a bunch of other people. But there are some reasons to doubt that. There are adjacent provinces in China where wild bats are much more numerous. They don't have major outbreaks of the disease. And because of that and other factors, more and more people are starting to say coronavirus did not occur naturally through mutation, but was produced in a laboratory, possibly as a biological warfare agent. So I may be pulling back from, I still think it was an accidental release. But, I could be wrong. Somebody, an agent, could have walked through that fish market and just sprayed, the fish when nobody was looking. Had a little canister of some kind with a time delay switch on it. Just throw it in a trash can, let it spray out into the air. Anything is possible. Okay, we're going to do a quick break for some commercials. Join us on the air, 800-313-9443, and we'll be right back.
How would you like to earn an extra $10,000 or more a month from the comfort of your home? We show you how to win with a home-based business opportunity. This could be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. Work from home, full-time or part-time. Plus, you'll never have to talk to anyone. Our professional sales team closes all your sales for you, and you keep 70% of all the sales made. You could be earning money while you're sleeping, shopping, working out, wherever you are, day or night. Our system goes to work for you. You can make a great income without any special computer skills or sales training. Plus, you get paid fast, within just 24 to 48 hours after our professional sales team closes a sale for you. Let us help you eliminate your financial concerns. You could be earning enough money to pay off debt, buy a house, a car, or whatever the case may be. We've got you covered. If you'd like to add an extra $10,000 or more a month to your portfolio, and you would like to know exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it, go now to www.getstartedwithus.com. That's www.getstartedwithus.com. Again, that's www.getstartedwithus.com.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant 'em anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in New York City.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And a reminder that Republic Broadcasting Network is in the middle of a fundraiser, and we really need your help. And I'm going to skip the cheesy jokes that I normally do during this part of the program and just simply reiterate that if you want Republic Broadcasting to continue, it's up to you. We're depending on you. We need your help. We're holding our hands out. I'd get down on my knees and beg, but getting back up off my knees would be problematic at this point here. So if you can help, please do. And thanks to everybody who already has, and thanks to those who are going to step in and help Republic Broadcasting stay on the air. So the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. Getting on back to the COVID-19 virus, we talked about this briefly yesterday, but scientists in China have determined there are 2 strains of coronavirus out there called L&S, and researchers from Peking University School of Life Sciences and the Pasteur Institute of Shanghai, under the Chinese Academy of Sciences, are basically saying there are now two strains. It is mutating. It is evolving. There's the L and the S strain, the more aggressive of which accounts for 70% of the infections in humans. So that's a scary thing there, the idea that it is in fact mutating and evolving and changing. Now, normally, a pathogen evolves to be less lethal because a pathogen, it doesn't do any good for the host to die, because at that point, opportunities to, spread their particular genome stop. The body is buried or it's cremated, and that's the end of it. And that's why over time, illnesses that it used to be lethal tend to be less so. When measles first surfaced, it was a killer. It absolutely was a killer. I mean, it wiped out almost the entire indigenous population of Hawaii when it was first introduced. Today, it's a childhood annoyance. But there's always the possibility of some mutation that produces something that is highly infective, long survival, and even if it kills its host, it's still able to pass on. So again, it's not a problem yet, but it could be. And the only way we keep it from becoming a big problem is we do the common sense things that people are told to do during the regular flu season, which we're in the middle of as well. So what you want to do is what you would normally do to avoid contacting the flu. Keep distance between yourself. You wash your hands a lot. Don't touch your face. Be careful of what surfaces you touch and so forth. All righty. Now, this is a very disturbing story. It's from UNS.com. And it's talking about a study by Chinese research group that shows concrete proof of racial differences in susceptibility of the COVID-19. And it isn't peer-reviewed yet, but they've already done a preprint. They're sending it out to scientists. It's entitled Single-Cell RNA Expression Profiling of ACE2, the Putative Receptor of Wuhan 2019 nCoV by Yu Zhao et al. And it's authored by a group of medical scientists based at Tongji University in Shanghai. And the authors are explaining that how COVID-19 shares the same receptor, angiotensin converting enzyme 2 ACE2, as the SARS disease. It's got the same receptor. And SARS, when it had its outbreak in 2003, it seemed almost exclusively to kill Northeast Asians. We're going to take a phone call now from Jim in Illinois. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Michael. Do you think that this virus could basically destroy the American economy, considering you're going to have a lot more people staying at home, not going out and going to restaurants, ball games, other special events, not going to restaurants and things like that? And especially if they decide to close down public schools or any schools, you might just have people just staying at home, which will hurt the economy. And I'm not that optimistic because this virus, no one has it under control.
Well, I don't think it can destroy the entire U.S. economy, but it's definitely going to slow it down, and it's probably going to hurry us into recession.
Well, you're right about that. And the reason I said could it destroy the American economy, as long as there's no cure for this virus or even getting enough tests for people to test themselves, is going to hurt the economy. And that's the other question. With these testing equipments, is my insurance or your insurance going to cover it? And what about the people that don't have insurance? Who's going to pick up the bill?
Those are very, very good questions. Now, in theory, I'm sure the insurance company is going to be more willing to pay for a test than to pay for your hospitalization if you come down with the illness because you waited too long. All right, Jim, stay on the line. Don't hang up. We're going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsor.
are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And we're talking with Jim in Illinois. And Jim, I think probably where we'll see certainly the earliest effect on our economy is the breakdown of supply chains. And we're getting a very serious object lesson in the downside of having offshored all of our manufacturing to Asia, to China, to other countries. Even Apple is now saying, because of the slowdown in replacement iPhones coming in from China, that people who are exercising their warranties on their phones may not be able to get a replacement phone.
Wow. But in order for companies to come back to America, that's going to take at least 5 or 10 years for that to happen.
Easily.
Yeah. You know, as I was on hold, I got to thinking when I mentioned about the testing, what about like the homeless camps or homeless people in general? Who's going to pay for the testing for those people? And definitely, what about the illegals?
That's a problem. You may not be able to get the illegals to go in for testing because they're afraid they might get arrested and deported.
Right. And also the fact that some people are the carriers. There's no symptoms of the virus on them. So they're walking around giving people different illnesses, and they don't even know it.
No, they don't. But I'll tell you, getting on back to the homeless population, they could be tremendous vectors in spreading this or any other contagion.
Right. And then where do you put the homeless if they need to be isolated?
Pretty much the same place they are right now, on the city streets. We don't have if we had a place to put the homeless, we would have put them there by now.
Right. And that's something that I thought about, and I said, you just can't tell them, stay in your camp. I mean, this is something that the country has never seen before. And I'm not that optimistic.
That's certainly true there. I don't know what the homeless situation was like back in 1918 in this so-called swine flu epidemic here, but yeah, it's a major problem now.
Well, back in 18, did they really have a homeless problem? There were hobos, but not like today.
No, not like today. Nowhere near like today, where it's just
right.
all over. Go ahead.
And plus, back in 1918, you didn't have large cities like you did today. A lot of people still lived in the country.
Yeah, and even our cities, they're not only larger, but the population is much more dense. The apartments have gotten smaller. People are more crowded together in places like the big box stores. I got to tell you, someplace that diseases can get passed back and forth are those health clubs, with all that equipment, the weights and whatnot, because to the best of my knowledge, they're not sterilizing that equipment in between clients.
Right. Speaking of 1918, my grandfather, he was in the service then, and he was sent to France with his buddies, and all his friends got ill from the flu, and the only reason he did not get ill because he was drinking his own urine.
Ew. I prefer I prefer the guy in Canada who cured himself with whiskey.
So my grandfather, he's dead now. He said, that's what kept me alive. I was drinking my own urine, and he never got ill.
Well, I guess if you get desperate enough, that that's what you'll do. But like I said, I prefer the whiskey route.
And I would agree with you. So, Michael, you take care.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. The phones are open. 800-313-9443. Getting on back to it, at the Beijing Ditan Hospital, they have come up with indications that COVID-19, in addition to give you a serious pneumonia, it attacks the central nervous system. And they've had a patient who had COVID-19, and it was complicated with encephalitis. Now, the patient survived, but it still indicates that there's something going on. We're still learning about this thing. We don't know. We don't have a baseline to work with. Marco Rubio is out there. He's expressing concern about the shortage of prescription drugs because of the coronavirus, not because the drugs are being used to treat the patients, but because right now China has blocked exports of anything, any medical supplies they think they themselves might need down the road. So we're going to start seeing shortages, not just here in the United States, but up in Canada, places like that. And there are some pharmaceutical manufacturers here in the United States of America, but whether they could ramp up to fill that gap left by China, we don't know. And here is kind of a bizarre after effect of COVID-19. As you know, there's a new James Bond film that was supposed to be coming out on April 10th. It's now had its release date delayed by 7 months because of the coronavirus concerns, which basically tells us that the storyline involves some kind of a pathogen there. So the film is titled No Time to Die. It was supposed to be released on April 10th. And now the premiere has been pushed back by more than 7 months. Going to postpone it until November. Now, getting on back to China, that Wuhan seafood market, which was supposed to be ground zero for COVID-19, has now been completely demolished and torn down. And I certainly hope the people doing the demolition were given the appropriate protective gear. But on the other hand, if in fact there was some kind of fakery going on and the seafood market was actually innocent, then again, like we saw with the Murrah Federal Building or the World Trade Towers or the Waco Church, tear it all down, take it away, so there's no evidence left for anybody to look at to say, hey, the official story has got problems. Funny how that works. Okay, so let's get into the international news here. Apparently, the Turkish army posts in Syria are merging with the rebel positions, and Russia is complaining, saying that Turkey is violating the past arrangements on Idlib. Apparently, there was some kind of a deal in place where the Turkish army, well, first of all, the Turkish army is where it doesn't have any business being. And they were supposed to be there inside Syria to help Syria deal with the rebel jihadis. That was their original excuse coming in. We're coming in to help Syria deal with. Now they're fighting side by side with them. And effectively, they're merged. So Russian officials are critical of this, saying Turkey was violating obligations they'd established in previous deals, particularly those where the Turkish army posts were established. This was done specifically so Turkey didn't do exactly what they are now doing. Erdogan's not going to be happy until he's got a major regional war on his hands. One of our callers into the show yesterday talked about this. Apparently, a fistfight broke out in the Turkish parliament, and it began with a lawmaker criticizing Erdogan over the soldier deaths in Idlib. And it was just a closed session about the country's operations in Idlib. An opposition Republican People's Party member, Engin Özkok, said Erdogan disrespected the dead troops and had acted irresponsibly, sending them off into conflict without air cover. This escalated into a huge brawl with lawmakers slapping and kicking each other. There's a video out of it, by the way. Great Britain is going to step up their military activities in West Africa, in the Sahel region, ostensibly to combat a jihadist insurgency in the region. At least that's what they're telling everybody. 250 British soldiers will join a UN mission in Mali later this year. And this is in addition to the 30 British soldiers and Royal Marines currently deployed in Senegal. There's a lot more going on in Africa than we're being allowed to know about here. Okay, bad news for people in Kosovo. They've lost their majority at the UN General Assembly. And Sierra Leone withdrew their recognition of Kosovo as an independent state. And so more states do not recognize Kosovo than do. Apparently, it's a majority vote. If the majority of the General Assembly says you're a state, then I guess you're a state. They did that with Palestine not too long ago, as I recall. So Foreign Minister Ivica Dačić said, the foreign minister was the one who said that Sierra Leone has withdrawn recognition. All right, we're going to go back to the phones here. Joe in Tennessee, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. I found out I'm going to be getting the tax rebate this year from the IRS. So,
good for you.
I figure I'm going to buy some more supplies and dry goods and stuff, and then also send some money in to you and RBN. And I recommend all the listeners, when they get their tax returns, they get a little money, that they should do about the same thing, stock up on some supplies just in case, and support RBN. I mean, I used to work on a casino boat, and every year, March and April, when people started getting their tax returns, the slot machines would fill up. They make a lot of money, and people take that it's like extra, bonus money. So I'd rather, don't spend it gambling. Spend it on something important. And,
I'll tell you right now, on behalf of Republic Broadcasting Network, we all promise we will not spend that money to send young people off to die in wars of conquest of other countries.
No, you had a long track record of standing up against that. So have I. But that's one of the reasons why you can be trusted as a source, because I don't think there's very many people out there that weren't cheerleaders for all these wars that we've been involved in, whether it was Serbia and Kosovo or Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. They were bipartisan wars, They
Yes.
were all like they were either humanitarian purposes was the way the left would sell the democratic inspired wars, a regime change, or else they were like Republican vengeance wars for like 9/11 or, the bombing in Germany, with Reagan. So, I always look for certain things when I look for sources of information, and the big ones are they against these wars? And the other one is, are they hip on 9/11? JFK, all these like really obvious conspiracies. If they can ignore that, why should I listen to them? Sometimes I will listen to people that I disagree with just to see what they're talking about, on other things. But at the same time, I always listen to you guys, you in particular. I just wanted to say this thing with this COVID. I think, I read that article you were talking about on Zero Hedge about it being racially determinate, that's going to affect East Asians more than anybody, and Northeast Asians. And but I think the problem is that the economic panic that's going to be created by this is to me could be worse than the actual disease. And that's why I tell all my family members or whatever, work on your immune system, but also, start stocking up, because I just was thinking about it. There's another cruise ship that they're not going to let the passengers off. The cruise industry is going to be in the tank. I hope they can survive this. Who wants to go on a cruise? You might end up being, held there in quarantine, so how's that going to, how are they going to, and that's a lot of jobs and, a lot of stock market, money invested. And so the threat to me isn't as much really as the virus, because, well, I'm not Asian, but at the same time, the threat to me is economic supply chains. I read a list today of all the medicines that come out of China, and how the shipping is like next to nothing in Long Beach. The amount of containers there is like, sparse. And then what happens, like I go to Walmart and the local shops a lot. Every other day I like to get fresh fruit. And I just see like a slow simmering panic, and it's just been building up every other day that I go there. I could just sense it. Yesterday when I went, it really was palpable. And I could see the way they were arranging the different things that they were selling was different. They moved, candies weren't there anymore. They put potato chips, which are big and bulky, and they look like a lot, but they're not. It's like a bag of potato chips, right? So you can see them starting to play games to try to tamp down the panic. And you get a lot of mixed messages with this thing. You see Trump at a rally. Yeah, there's the president of the United States. If this thing's so dangerous, you think the Secret Service would say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be going to rallies and shaking hands and, exposing yourself to this threat. So, you get these mixed messages on this thing. But I think, as what I'd say to my family or friends or whatever is, just start filling your pantry up and working on your immune system and trying to avoid, being around a lot of people if you can. Movie theaters, airplanes, just till this thing, we get a grip on how bad it's going to be, So I worked on cruise ships. I worked on the Pride of Aloha out there in Hawaii, and I was sick.
Oh, okay.
I was only on there for like 4 months, and I got sick twice on that thing. You get a little bug and it goes all over one of those boats. It doesn't.
If you see how tightly the crew is packed into their quarters, the cabins for the paying passengers are nice and luxurious, but the crew they're in bunk beds and they're all racked into these, for lack of a better word, dormitories. I worked the Mississippi Queen on the river. And because I was an entertainer, I got a private cabin, but most of the crew, they were just shoved into these little racks of bunks, and same thing. We kept getting sick over and over and over again.
Yeah, I had my own room too, but it made it easier to pick up chicks because you had your own room, and some of the, the girls that worked as waitresses and stuff.
My wife may be listening.
Yeah, you definitely had an advantage if you had your own room. You know what I mean? If I could comment on something else real quick.
Please do.
I watch Schumer, having a fit about the Supreme Court. And I got to tell you, these Democrats, they really can't handle losing, can they? They're not very gracious losers.
No,
I'm a Republican conservative. I've been losing my whole life, so I'm kind of used to it, But boy, are they such a bunch of babies. You know, even Ginsburg and Sotomayor complaining about Trump, and Schumer basically threatening the two justices that aren't going to vote his way, and Hillary losing and blaming it on the Russians. You know, okay, let's start a war with Russia just because I don't like the results and I'm a big baby. You know, I mean, it's just they're really like pouting little babies. And I guess it is because they're so used to winning. You know, Republicans have rolled over for so long with the Democrats that they think that that's the way it's supposed to always be. But, you know, I always told people that, you know, I judge a person's character not when they win a fight, but when they lose a fight. You know, how do they shake it off? How do they act? You know, because I think sometimes, you know, if you have a kid, it's almost more important to see him get his ass whooped and learn a lesson and learn how to take it and deal with it than it is to go around winning all the time. And I think these Democrats are kind of like that. They don't know how to lose graciously or well. And you know, when you lose and you have an error, that gives you an opportunity to make a correction. You know,
it does.
Look into
Joe,
yourself and correct.
Joe, going to put you on hold.
You.
Don't hang up.
Okay.
We're going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsors.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. Here we're talking with Joe in Tennessee. And, you know, the point you bring up about lessons learned by losing. I remember back during the 1990s and the whole feminist revolution there, and they were out there telling women, you can succeed and you can do this and you can do that. And they were trying to teach women how to be successful, but they never taught them how to deal with failure. Because a lot of women went on out there and they tried for the executive suite and they failed. And for pretty much the same reason that most men who try for the executive suite fail as well, because they're just not up to it. And whereas men, because of team sports growing up, have learned how to accept failure and learn from it, the women didn't. And they started blaming the evil male patriarchy. It's not my fault that I didn't get the promotion to CEO. It must be somebody else who's there. And, you know, the evil men, the glass ceiling, and they just came up with all this stuff to sort of excuse the fact that they just weren't as good as they thought they were.
Well, it's actually all they're doing is hamstringing the own people that the feminists that they say they're trying to enable. It's the same way with like the leadership of the black community. It's like sometimes you got to take a look at the problems in the black community and not just blame them on white people. Same way with women. Don't just blame it on the patriarchy. Maybe you have to correct yourselves a little bit here and there. I mean, I think that's very important. I mean, I work on ships, and a lot of times I'll get cadets and students come out there from the, you know, maritime academies or whatever, and I'll spend a lot of time trying to help guys that want to be helped and that are, you know, you can correct. But there are people that come out and you can't correct them. They're stubborn or they got issues, and all they're doing is hurting themselves, you know, by not, you know, sometimes you got to correct somebody, and it's hard truth, but it's helpful, you know. It's kind of like what you got to do to change course. Sometimes you're stubborn or it's your ego, but you got to be able to make the correction. And if you're not, it's like, what do they say? Those that don't listen will feel. You know, because you're going to get hit over the head. And I think I see that in the Democratic Party. You know, so
yeah,
you know, I heard a guy today on
they're sore losers. There's no question about it. And you know, one of the things I'm very much opposed to is the so-called participation trophies. You know, where you go out for some kind of an event or something, and even the people who show up and they lose horribly and they make complete fools of themselves, and they still get a little trophy to take home. What's the whole point of having trophies at all if everybody gets one?
There isn't, but that's, you know, like I said, you can't hurt somebody's feelings. Well, you know, sometimes you got to learn. You got to learn to lose. It's important. You know, you lose a fight. It's important. It feels bad, but you know, and so well, I lost my train of thought on that one. But I wanted to say one thing. I heard a guy say something really interesting today about this coronavirus, and he said that he has the feeling like he did when he saw the first plane had hit the World Trade Center. You know, it was a nightmare, but there's more to come. And I kind of think we might be at that point now. And tomorrow ought to be an interesting day. I'm going out to Walmart again tomorrow, and I'm just going to fill up my basket and get some more dog food. I ran out of dog food at the one Walmart, so I'm going to the other one tomorrow. Got to keep them dogs fed.
Joe, we're going to have to let you go. We got to take a break for station identification.
All right,
we've got more callers waiting on the line, and we'll be right back.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show today, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And we're going to go back to the phones here to Faye. Aloha, Faye. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Oh, hi. I know I'm probably off topic, but I just wanted the viewers to be aware that there is a YouTube video of Rona Barrett interviewing Trump, and it shows you his attitude toward Iran, even back then. So it just shows that he is going along with what the Jews want as far as going after Iran, because he's always adopted that view.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Well, if it's Rona Barrett, it definitely is an old interview. But, again, the president is like members of Congress are supposed to represent the collective will of the American people. But unfortunately, we don't get that.
That's true. Yeah, I just thought maybe it was interesting that even way back then, how he carried on about Iran and stuff. So, it's of no surprise that he's adopted the policies of wanting to go after Iran. Anyway, I just thought I would throw that out there.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And thank you for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Aloha, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. Good day to you. Yeah, Michael, I have to correct myself from yesterday or the day before, whatever I told you about Tay-Sachs. Actually, it's the Ashkenazis who get Tay-Sachs more than anybody as far as the group. But I wanted to talk to you about this. And also, before I go, somewhat I want to talk about is, Michael, leprosy still exists big time in the world. Do you know that?
Yes, I do.
Actually, they have an island off the Hawaiian coast. I believe they still have a lot of lepers there.
Well, they don't have the lepers there. There's a leper colony. It's being preserved as a historical landmark, and it's on Molokai, and that's where Father Damien, who eventually contracted leprosy himself, he ran the leper colony, and now I guess they're getting ready to make him a saint.
Michael, how does people get leprosy through dirt or something? How did people back in the Middle Ages get leprosy? What was the
Well, apparently,
they had water or something. They drank bad water or something.
No, it's not. It's not the water. It's a bacterial infection, I believe, or viral, and it's passed from person to person. And the way it got passed is that people who weren't initially symptomatic or who were hiding the fact that they had the disease, they would touch other people, or the same way any disease gets passed along. But as I understand it, leprosy can be cured today.
Well, I did read that years back that India had a big leprosy population. India and around that area, there was a lot of lepers in that area of the world. In Africa, I believe, too. I can't remember. I read a book about that like 5 years ago. I remember I was reading The Hot Zone with Ebola, and I was also reading about leprosy. Hot Zone was a great book. I don't know if you ever had a chance to read that.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, The Hot Zone was one heck of a book, I tell you. It came out around the same time the book The Bell Curve came out. You remember The Bell Curve?
I remember the bell curve and the controversy that stirred.
Right. Yeah, at that time, when the Bell Curve came out, wasn't like long ago, and then they had Hot Zone came out. But anyway, speaking of that, Michael, Hot Zone. Have you seen the news today breaking with Trump with the sanctuary cities?
No, I haven't seen that one. I've been watching the Fox channel here. I missed that one. Please
It's on
enlighten
Fox
us.
right now. Yes, it's on Fox right now, Michael, that Trump's going to withhold millions and multiple millions of dollars from the sanctuary cities for all these illegals. He's going to really start cracking down. He's going to hold multiple millions of dollars in funds because, like you say, Title VIII. I've been calling Congress people, and none of these Congress people, what Title VIII is.
Boy, there's a
all your callers
confidence
call.
builder.
What's that, Michael?
I said there's a confidence builder.
Yeah, right. And so, we'll see. I mean, I even believe that Trump has really basically turned the Ninth Circuit. I guess if he got reelected, that you would really see a clean house on that. And, the one thing that people ain't talking about in the media yet is Biden's already said that if he becomes president, first thing he'll do is, if there's an opening on the Supreme Court, he's going to put a black liberal woman on the Supreme Court. That's the first thing he wants to do. Not a conservative black woman, not a conservative black man like Clarence Thomas, a liberal, ultra-liberal, worse probably than Sotomayor. So, no, we got to do everything to defeat Biden just for that reason. And let me tell you, Michael, you know it deep down. And all their callers are calling. Biden has Alzheimer's. The guy's got a brain of a 98-year-old man, not a 78-year-old man. His brain is shot. Have you heard? He don't even know who his wife or his sister is. This is unbelievable. And they're pushing this guy to deep state to be the president while he can just sit back and the schmucks run everything? You think it's bad now. You wait till Biden gets in there, all the Jews will be going off the chain in Congress. Look at Schumer right now. I just saw the news just now, Michael. Right now, Michael, they're trying to censure Schumer. They already got like 15 senators are trying to censure this schmucky Schumer.
Not censor,
Chucky
censure. It's pronounced censure, which is a slap on the
Censure.
wrist, and he has to sit in the back of the room for a while.
Well, I think he should be impeached. To tell you the truth, because he's a dark state Zog for Israel. Schumer, he's taking orders from them. And Michael, one more thing. I know you got other callers, but I've been trying to see what's going on. I think they postponed this the raping of two Coreys. They postponed it. Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I did. I heard that it was scheduled for broadcast, and then all of a sudden, it's the last second, it was pulled off. Same thing with that documentary about the Franklin scandal. It was already in the TV guide, and a lot of pressure was brought to bear, and so it never aired in this country.
That's correct. And Michael, I called your show a year ago, and I had to bring this up real quickly. Mitt Romney, stabbed Donald Trump. He's the only one that impeached Trump in the hearings in the Senate trial.
The only Republican.
Mitt Romney, yes, he's the only Republican in history who's ever done that. But Mitt Romney is also the same guy in 2012, 3 months before the election. He was at an event that Jimmy Carter's grandson was at, and he had him on a hot mic saying that he could only get the 49 percenters. And Mitt Romney, being such an evil, I don't know what the guy is. I mean, they believe it. Not they got polygamy all over. I think Utah is going nuts now. They're going to start having, you can have 10 wives. But look, Mitt Romney's also the same guy. I remember reading this like it was a minute ago, that the guy had 4 pictures of Barry Obama, Tortero, with Louis Farrakhan having his arm around him. And like 30 days before the election of 2012, that Tuesday, they were begging Mitt Romney to kick out like $1 million to buy these pictures so he could put it on all these news networks. And he wouldn't do it. Nobody's explained that yet, why Mitt Romney did not buy those pictures. And he probably could have turned the tide. If anything, he would have got the Jews to sit out of the 2012 election.
Yes.
The Jews would never have voted that night for Obama, and that could have swung some states to Romney. Because actually, if you look back at the electoral map of 2012, Mitt Romney did not really lose that election by much. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 190,000 votes only as reason Romney lost that election. I'm not 100% sure. You'd have to maybe check. I can check it out. but I believe it was under 200,000 votes that Romney could have been the president in 2012. But he would not buy that picture of Farrakhan with Obama. And Al Green, Mad Maxine Waters was in the picture. You had Reverend Wright. You have all these guys were in this picture, and they were all hugging and huddling against Louis Farrakhan. So any explanation, Michael, why you can tell me on air, why do you think that was?
It doesn't really make any sense. If Mitt Romney wanted to be president, he should have bought the pictures and put them out there, and it probably would have swung the election in his favor. And there is no explanation I can think of unless somebody threatened or blackmailed him.
Exactly, and I totally agree with you on that. But yeah, Michael, but in the meantime, Jimmy Carter, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe it was his grandson, was there, and Romney's saying that he'll never get 49% of the vote because everybody wants a free handout, just like they're trying to do now with the deep state with Biden. Look at how they're all rallied around Biden to take down Bernie. I honestly, I'd like to ask your opinion. Who do you think Trump would have a better time whooping? Who would he whoop faster, Bernie or Biden, in your opinion, Michael?
I think when Donald Trump gets Joe Biden in a debate, Trump is going to clean his clock, because with all the gaffes and his inability to think and put together sentences, Biden's just going to come across as a goofball. That's my opinion.
And I totally agree with you. Here's a guy, he's saying that when he's in a pool, he likes little kids touching his hairy legs, and he's talking about corn pop. He beat up corn pop. I mean, this Biden is insane. And, this stuff with Hunter Biden getting millions of dollars out of Burisma. Come on. Joe Biden doesn't know nothing about it, but he's over there playing golf with these guys. You got to be kidding me. This Biden's biggest corrupted character probably next to Obama there ever was in the White House. Come on. And people are voting for him because, you know what? The bottom line is all these young millennials, they want free handouts. They want free. 1, 2, free. 1, 2, free. 1, 2, free. I'm going to go sleep under a coconut tree. This is exactly what these liberals want. They want free pina coladas and sitting under a coconut tree, and they can swing in their hammocks all day, and you don't have to pay no bills. I mean, it's absurd what's happening in the United States. And by the way, Michael, before I hang up, did you see Tucker Carlson's show yesterday about AT&T?
No, please enlighten us.
Okay, that was excellent. Tucker had a great show last night about they're bringing in all these 100,000 Indians from India to take over all the jobs in AT&T, and the Americans, black and white Americans, have to train them to take their jobs.
We have seen that
happen
with a lot of companies are doing that now. They get
if they don't shut their mouth, they don't get the severance pay. That right there, who's ever in charge of those companies should be arrested, just like sanctuary cities. They should be handcuffed and locked up and the key thrown away. These mayors, these governors all around sanctuary city should be arrested. These people like AT&T and Google and Amazon, whatever, they're bringing these illegals in to take Americans' jobs, they should be arrested on the spot. No more patty cake, baker man. You're arrested. You're going to jail. You're in the slam. Sam. Don't be coy, Roy. You just listen to me. Drop off the key, Lee. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. You got all these companies bringing in foreign workers.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn about our culture. You got these illegals coming in here by the millions. Come on, Michael. This is Trump. I tell you, I'll probably give a vote for him. But I tell you what, in the next 4 years, if he gets there, I want to see some real crackdowns, man. I want to see this country getting straightened out because I live in an area. I know I've been in areas, man. You don't even want to speak the language here anymore. Come on, man. No other group can get away with that. Got to stop and desist. You come to this country, you embrace our values, our flag, like Teddy Roosevelt said, or you leave. You're not welcome. And he made it specifically clear. You come to this country, you become an American. That's the one initiative that you have to accept, that you're going to become an American. And you know what? Unfortunately, this country's turning out like Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia. I mean, that's what we're looking at here. And it's got to stop and desist immediately. Thank God we have Trump, because if Hillary was in there, Michael, I believe your show right now, people will be screaming and hollering, and they'll be talking about there's 60, 50, 70 million illegals coming in already. Do we agree on that?
I agree. Absolutely. I mean, I'm disappointed in Trump, but I'm glad he won the election in 2016 because it would have been worse under Hillary.
Oh, absolutely, Michael. This coronavirus, it would be a bubonic plague if Hillary was in there. It would be a bubonic plague. I can tell you. It would be worse than the Middle Ages if Hillary or any Democrat was in there right now.
We've had
I believe you
bubonic
agree with
plague
that.
brought into the country by some of the illegals, some of the refugees. Now they got it under control, but yeah, it did happen.
And Michael, one more thing I got to say, and I'm going to hang up. I'm going to let you go. That guy that called in yesterday, I listened to your show for an hour after I hung up. That guy was calling in about Puerto Rico and that we should help Puerto Rico out and Trump. And they got talking about water fountains. What was with that guy? Is he crazy, that guy? Who's that guy? Paul or something?
I think he was tongue in cheek about the water fountains, because
Well, Michael, you're talking about Puerto Rico that Trump should do more for. Hey, David, we gave there were 5 million gallons of water, 5 million gallons of water in the warehouses that they had from the hurricane.
Tom, take a Valium, calm down, a few deep breaths, walk around there, just calm down here a little bit. With regard to the guy who said we should spend the money to repair the water fountains, as I pointed out to him, that's going to be a vector for the transmission of any disease, not just COVID-19, because people are touching that little valve, the little button that makes the water go. And, any water that doesn't get swallowed is going to splash off their face into that little collecting bin. And more water in there will splash droplets up, which could be carrying virus particles.
Totally agree with you, Michael. But that guy called in and he said about we owe money to Puerto Rico. There was multiple millions of gallons of water in these warehouses in Puerto Rico. They've already stole $328 million out of the Puerto Rican government, stole from the American taxpayers by sending aid down there for the hurricane. That guy was talking. Where's the $328 million? All the newspapers in South Florida here are talking about it. The corruption in Puerto Rico is so corrupted over there, it's beyond pale. The corruption in Puerto Rico is beyond pale as far as stealing money, the government. And they had warehouses of hundreds of thousands of gallons of water, blankets, flashlights, and all that. They weren't even distributing it out to the populace of Puerto Rico. Okay? My friends tell me all about it. I have Puerto Rican friends that tell me there was so much corruption over there, it's ridiculous. I know a lot of Puerto Ricans. They tell me your corruption in Puerto Rico is off the chain. It's worse than anywhere. As far as the money, that they steal the money, they distribute all the water and all that during the hurricane. Come on, that guy saying Trump should give them more money. Who's that guy? What was that guy? Nuts or something? I'm talking about American taxpayers should be swinging more money to Puerto Rico. They stole $328 million according to all the news networks down here. Unbelievable.
Okay, well, Tom. Okay, all right. Yeah, Tom, we're going to let you go here. You've had enough time here. We've got callers.
Ginseng. I had some ginseng today, Michael.
Yeah, half the amount tomorrow. Okay. Anyway, we're going to switch over to Don. We're going to switch over to Don in Arizona. Aloha, Don. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. It's none of my business. I just wanted to ask you if you ever met John Hartford when you were on the riverboats over there.
No, I didn't meet him, but I mean, he had his own riverboat, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Johnny Hartford.
Yeah, the musician John Hartford. Yeah, they offered him a job. They offered him the job in L.A. Rockford Files. Da 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 da. You know, that's with the Rockford Files. Remember that?
I think
they
that was
him that.
I mean, he was, a bluegrass artist, and he rose to fame on the Smothers Brothers show, and then he took his money.
But he also lived in L.A. and they offered him that job to become a TV star on that, and he turned it down so he could go. He wanted to mess around with the riverboats and all that. But anyway, yeah, he's a musical hero to me. But as far as the Zionist, the whole deal, people complain about Trump. He's a Zionist. He's always against Iran, and he's okay. You tell me a presidential candidate that's not a Zionist. Bernie is one, but that's why they're not going to let him have the nomination. They're not going to. Biden is going to be almost as much of a slavish devotion to Israel as Trump, maybe more. I mean, Biden and Hillary,
yes.
Whatever they're going to do, if they're going to have Biden there and have him immediately retire. I mean, if he was going to win, which I mean. The way the economy's going now, it's going straight down the tubes, and Trump's not going to be able to brag about the stock market anymore during his campaign.
But he's going to blame it on the on the COVID-19 virus and Mike Pence. He's already insulated himself from the economic downturn.
The main point is, no matter who the president is, yeah, you could get somebody like Bernie running on a third party, which he should have done that in the first place. I think it's difficult, but at least he would have a chance. He has no chance with the Democrats. He has no chance for the nomination, even though he's the best.
Even Fox News out there was saying, did the Democrats cheat Bernie Sanders again? So it's like everybody knows what's going on.
The Democrats that admit that they don't care. I mean, their big shots are the ones that are in control. That's one of the reasons I'm glad I got out of the Democratic Party. If you're a registered Democrat, I'll let you go, Mark. Take it easy.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. More calls waiting when we come back from these 2 years.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed the newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
The newspaper? Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, a majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper does not give out the important attention on what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Here, we're going to go right back to the phones to Kevin in West Virginia. Aloha, Kevin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, sir. I was wondering if you had seen the interview today with Dr. Boyle talking about with the COVID-19 virus, mentioned the same thing that you mentioned, that this thing has mutated. A few weeks ago, I had called back to you, or called and talked to you about this thing can go airborne and stay alive up to 9 days without a host and without the phlegm being wrapped around it. I knew that 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now people are reporting that this thing's mutated. It's probably mutated a couple times since the last time that I had told you that this thing has gone airborne. And what happens whenever this gets into the feces-ridden tent cities like in San Francisco? This thing's going to go pandemic levels in this country. We ought to be concerned. Like you said sometimes and time again, it's not a problem yet. We need to get a handle on it before it becomes a problem. And
Exactly.
I also advise people not trust the task force that Trump, this COVID task force. Dr. Fauci is in his eyeballs, up to his eyeballs, with biological weapons research, as well as the NIH, as well as departments of the CDC, and as well as the World Health Organization. This is crazy who Trump has appointed around him when they're all in eyeballs deep of corruption and deep with this.
I agree.
These people are no good. They're more dangerous.
That's why these press conferences are basically, it's a lot of glad handing, and these are great people and they're going to do a wonderful job, and this is what we think we're going to do down the road. And there's nothing substantive there, which is why we're not going to be carrying those live broadcasts anymore.
Yeah, Dr. Fauci is up to his eyeballs in this. I mean, I had, called in before, and I agree with your original hypothesis, but it wasn't just components that was bought out of the the University of North Carolina. It was the entire virus. They took it back to China with them. So, I mean, and Fauci, Dr. Fauci, or whatever his name is, he was sitting top of over that. Right there, he is, I'm not saying that's your main person, but that's somebody we ought to be looking at. How did the Chinese get this? Who did they go through? Where does it stop? I mean, under the Obama administration, and again, I'm not trying to spread fear porn or anything like that, but I think this is more dangerous than what the media is letting it to believe, or this whole task force thing is downplaying it. I don't think this should be downplayed. I think this is serious.
I think it potentially could be serious, and that's why I'm saying we don't want people to be afraid. We don't want to start a panic, but you need to be aware and you need to be concerned, and you need to be following the common sense precautions you would use just to deal with the normal flu. Distance from people, careful how you cough, careful how people cough on you, limit contact with the shared surfaces, don't touch your face, that kind of stuff.
I agree, and I do urge everybody to look in who this Dr. Fauci is, and as well as look into Dr. Francis A. Boyle and the research that he has done. These people that are messing with these viruses, I told you before, this is nothing but a death science, death cult. These people shouldn't be messing with this, and they need to be all arrested. I mean, this is something we should not be messing with, and why we are, I have no idea. I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely insanity in my book. But that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to tell everybody, don't trust this task force team. They're lying to you. They're lying to all of us. And to do your due diligence and the research these people actually are. And thank you for your time, Mr. Mike. I hope you have a good day.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to switch over to Andy in Texas. Aloha, Andy. Welcome to the show. I may have to take you through the next commercial break. And what is on your mind?
Well, you probably won't. You'll end up hanging up on me because I'm going to advocate something here that's just crazy. I mean, how long? We would just talk about this stuff. All we do is talk about this stuff. And it's great. We're getting information now. People are getting more and more informed. But we're not doing anything about this. So if I die a year from now from a slow kill that they're putting in my food, air, and water, or I die tomorrow fighting these people, what's the difference? I still die, right? So why are we playing? Absolutely. So why are we playing these games with these people? Why don't we just go get these people, get them out of our world, and let's just get busy with life? because we weren't put here. We weren't put here to be ruled. We were put here to live our life. Okay, I don't feel like I should be ruled. I don't think anybody else in this country feels like they should be ruled. Somebody should be telling them what to do on a day-to-day basis and how they should feel. And then, oh, here comes a virus, blah, blah, blah. We should be able to live our life according to the way we want to live. And they have so usurped that. We are so dependent on the government. We're so dependent on these stores and everything that we have to go and buy and whatnot.
Okay,
We can't
Andy,
provide for ourselves.
Andy, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to let you go for this commercial break, and we've got more callers waiting on the line when we get back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
How would you like to earn an extra $10,000 or more a month from the comfort of your home? We show you how to win with a home-based business opportunity. This could be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. Work from home, full-time or part-time. Plus, you'll never have to talk to anyone. Our professional sales team closes all your sales for you, and you keep 70% of all the sales made. You could be earning money while you're sleeping, shopping, working out, wherever you are, day or night. Our system goes to work for you. You can make a great income without any special computer skills or sales training. Plus, you get paid fast, within just 24 to 48 hours after our professional sales team closes a sale for you. Let us help you eliminate your financial concerns. You could be earning enough money to pay off debt, buy a house, a car, or whatever the case may be. We've got you covered. If you'd like to add an extra $10,000 or more a month to your portfolio, and you would like to know exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it, go now to www.getstartedwithus.com. That's www.getstartedwithus.com. Again, that's www.getstartedwithus.com.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones. Keith Rogers, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, Mike, I sent you 3 articles. One is a doctor tells Congress that he developed this coronavirus vaccine years ago but couldn't receive the funding. And then there's a video, or actually audio, of Donald Trump saying, for those that have coronavirus, just return to work. I listened to it. I couldn't believe that. Of course, all Trump cares about is the stock market and stuff like that. But anyway, for Joe down there, this might be interesting to you. Mike, I sent you an email on this, on Trump in this fast-tracking green cards quota, and this is part of this USMCA deal. In that, this is where Joe was talking about the AT&T deal. And of course, if you remember AT&T, they're the ones that are behind this Amdocs. And there's an email there that I print out of an email of what these people are going through and having to train their replacements there. But, I mean, this is what's going on. And then you should also realize the relationship that Israel has been formulating with India over there. So to me, this is just more of an American sellout. That video on the Amdocs, I edited that off of the original Carl Cameron ones, so it's only like a minute and a half long or something like that. But this is what's going on here is Israel is getting the best of all of these corporate deals to work for Amdocs. Mm-hmm. And you know, I mean, this is what's going on there. But like say, it's all part of this Securing America's Futures Act, and there's actually two of those. One deals with another issue, but this is a 45% increase in the annual allotment of green cards, and it goes from 120,000 to 175,000. And again, these are all being fast-tracked to make it so that the Israeli corporations can profit greatly, just like Paul Sanger and Mitt Romney in their deals with all these Latin American phone companies. I mean, they're all tied together, and it isn't really benefiting America. It's benefiting the Israelis.
Well, it certainly doesn't benefit America if it's putting Americans out of work in the long run.
Well, no, but when you start looking at the amount of people getting laid off or having to train their own people, you're talking about an apartment lost, a home lost, vehicles lost, credit lost, all this.
Yeah, it's a bad policy. It really, really is. I think we need to go back to a system where if you have full employment among the American people, then you can allow foreign workers to come in. But to allow foreign workers to come on in to replace American workers, I mean, to me, that's a betrayal of the people.
Yeah. And again, it's your politician. So if you vote in 2020, I think it's time to reassess who you're voting for.
I would definitely agree with that. Okay. You know, I'm definitely an anti-incumbent. You know, but on the other hand, I may not vote because it just seems to encourage the bastards.
Yeah. Anyway, like I say, you might want to look at those links there and then maybe put them on your page there. But they're kind of interesting to read there because you can actually see what's all the backroom deals that are being done. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. I'm seeing all of your emails, and I'll post them to the web page.
All right, my best to you. Okay, tell Claire hi.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Dave in Cape Cod. Aloha, Dave. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hello, Michael. I've been listening to you, and I review your website every night. The headlines, really appreciate your work, especially one of your best, unknown to me, and maybe there are others, All Wars Are Bankers' Wars. It really puts, our whole history in perspective. What I wanted to mention to you is when it comes to the coronavirus, I heard that I read someplace where Bill Gates predicted something like this, and that there'd probably, I even think he mentioned the name coronavirus, and then he said there'd be a cure or a vaccine for it within a year. It may take a year.
Yes.
Now, when he comes to speak about vaccinations, that's his way of reducing the world population. And the reason I'm even bringing that up too is that I saw just the other day a rebroadcast of Mike Wallace did an interview with a woman that became crippled because of the vaccine she got for the swine flu. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yes, I put the video up on the webpage yesterday, and it was related to the 1976 mandated swine flu vaccination. That vaccine killed 50 times as many people as the flu did, and a lot of people came down with the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a neurological disorder, and it's permanent. There's no coming back from it.
So I did. I got it from your website, and I didn't even realize it because I go to similar websites like yours with different information behind the scenes, what's really going on. The other thing, I don't know if you ever heard of Henry Makow.
Yes.
It's MAKOW.com.
Yes, I have.
Have you ever, are you familiar with his website?
I'm familiar with his website. We've linked to some of his articles.
Oh, okay. Because that really goes in depth in the archives of Trump's background. He's a lot better than any alternative, but he's got his issues with Sheldon Adelson and Zionism and everything else. So we're in a mess, but praise God, there's I don't know what's going to happen with this, but we have all these different, when you think of this virus stuff, we have all these fake shootings and everything else. This could be a total fake, but you have to be prepared anyway. So good talking to you, and I appreciate you, and keep up the work. I hope your health is improving.
It is.
I saw you from time to time. Oh, good. Okay.
No, they're saying another 5 months, and I'll be
Bobby?
They're telling me another 5 months, and I'll be completely over this.
What was it?
It's called polymyelitis rheumatica, and it's a neurological degenerative disease, and it hit me really, really hard. Apparently, I had it all the way back to last summer and didn't realize what was going on. I just thought it was old age. I'm slowing down, I'm getting weaker, I'm getting tired more easily, but it turned out that there was something else going on. And thankfully, the doctor identified it, and it got really hairy there for a while. I had to go into an assisted care facility for a while. I literally had to learn how to walk all over again.
Wow. Yeah, I'm 75 and I'm still working, and some days I just, I don't know what I'm going to get when I get up in the morning. But anyway, I hope you're feeling better, and keep up the good work, and maybe I'll give you a call again when something comes up.
All right, well, that would be fine, and I appreciate the call. We're going to switch over to W in Texas. Aloha, W. What's on your mind today?
Yes. Just thinking about the coronavirus, and my question was your thoughts on the summertime. I heard this mentioned today on another radio show. They're saying, when it warms up, this situation may peter out a little bit, but the question was brought up, but what about mosquitoes? I know it's a respiratory disease, but it's such a weird disease. Who knows what's going to happen if, somebody that's infected is bitten and then they bite somebody else. It was just an idea, just a concept that was brought up today, and I just want to get your opinion on that. And then my comment was about all the, again, it's springtime and there's a lot of events happening. You got spring break, all types of festivals and things. And I believe down in Miami, they canceled a big music festival called Ultra or something like that. And so it's going to be interesting to see if these big festivals and events hang on or decide to cancel or not. So that was my question and comment, mosquitoes and about the festivals and stuff.
Well, there's no question that mosquitoes are a vector. I mean, they're certainly a vector for things like malaria and dengue fever. As far as the summertime rendering the COVID-19 less communicable, It's possible. We don't really actually know because it is mutating, and it could mutate into a form where the temperature isn't the factor anymore. The reason they think that warming it up is going to limit it is because the host animals that in theory this virus came from have a much higher body temperature than humans do, and that's why they don't get sick from it. But they do carry it, which means it is surviving the higher temperatures.
Gotcha. All right. And they just found apparently 2 cases in Houston area today too. So it's keep spreading. Yep. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much there. And yeah, some large gatherings are canceling and some are not. In fact, I just got an email from somebody in Seattle saying that Comic-Con is still on for all of you Comic-Con fans out there. All right, let's go to Miles in Maine. Aloha, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. Boy, another good call by Tom, but man, oh man, you really know how to get him shooting right out of the blocks.
Too much coffee.
What you do to him, but yeah, him and his ginseng and whatever he's got going, man. Maybe we better talk to him about his tonics he uses. I was going to just say, Michael, I know you I've been studying this a lot with this virus situation yet. But what would your precautions be, or what would you recommend? Because I don't know if they've suspended any shipping from China, or what exactly is going on with that. But if someone was to get a package that, say, was manufactured potentially in China, what would you say to do with that, or how would you say to handle that?
Well, in theory, by the time the cargo ship crosses the Pacific Ocean to the United States, any virus particles in it are probably going to have died already. If it's exposed to the air, if it's exposed to the light, you can, if you want, go out to places like eBay, and you can get these little handheld ultraviolet lights that you can use to sterilize the outside of a package. As far as what Claire and I are doing, we don't go to any large gatherings. We home office, so we're already ahead of the curve on that one. When we do have to go out shopping, we go in the off hours so that there's a minimum amount of people that we have to deal with in the store. We did that this morning. The Walmart supercenters around here are open 24 hours a day, so we basically head on out here right at sunrise.
So you think theoretically, if it's taking that slow boat from China, so to speak, by the time it gets to your front door, you should be in okay shape to open it up?
For the most part, there are going to be exceptions if the package contains a liquid that's contaminated, if the package contains something that the virus can use as a growth medium, like meat or something else like that, or especially if it's a live cargo. And include something that's a vector for the illness. The reason the shipping is slowing down is not out of a concern of contamination, but because so much of China's manufacturing has slowed down or shut down. And of course, China is now banning the export of any medical supplies they themselves might need down the road. So, things like gloves and thermometers and various other things like that are not getting to this country.
Now, has Pence and this Pence team, or whatever he's got going, this Pence task force, have they given any recommendations on anything like that, on any shipments coming in from China that might be delivered to the home?
No, they really haven't given much suggestions beyond the usual ones about watch where you cough, don't touch shared surfaces, don't touch your face, the usual flu season precautions. And
I like you. I'm not impressed with their press conferences at all.
Me neither.
They're really a big ball of nothing for anybody who's got any amount of concern. They're just really a big ball of nothing, and it's let's pat this guy on the back, and here's the old guy from here, and now we got him back, and he's going to run this. But anyway, Mike, thanks a bunch for your time, and keep up the great work, and keep that healing up.
I absolutely intend to do just that. All right, we're going to switch over to Glenn in Philadelphia. Aloha, Glenn. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. On the coronavirus front, of course. I'm sure you're familiar with this. I've been listening to a PhD epidemiologist by the name of Henry L. Nyman, who is now on nightly for an hour with Jeff Rense. And I'm sure you're familiar. And in listening to him the past few nights, it's fascinating, to hear him talk about this. He's been frustrated by a couple specific things, which is very interesting. On the one hand, he railed against people likening the coronavirus just to the flu, saying it's just a flu. It's just a flu. And he's saying it is not. Morphologically, it's not like a flu. In terms of its transmission, it's not like a flu. And then the other thing he rails against is people swearing that this is a bioweapon. And he's saying that the chemical and genetic structure of it just does not fit for a bioweapon, which I think is interesting, and given that this guy's an epidemiologist. So on the one hand, he's insisting that it's definitely more serious than a flu, and on the other hand, he's saying, but it is not a bioweapon. I'm just kind of curious about that.
Well, given that most bioweapons are classified projects here, I mean, he doesn't really know everything that's out there, and he doesn't know. Go ahead.
No, but there are certain structural distinctives he's claiming, like in bioweapons, that would give it away. And it just doesn't fit the morphology of a bioweapon, which I think is intriguing. And I agree. How can he be so sure? So, but it's interesting and like I say, normally this guy's on once a week with Jeff Rense, and now given this situation, he's now having him on an hour each night, which is interesting. The other observation I wanted to make is the one term that I'm not hearing relative to the coronavirus is cytokine storm.
Okay, Glenn, I'm going to put you on hold. Do not hang up. I'm going to come right back to you after these words in response.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Glenn in Philadelphia. And Glenn, just pick up where you left off. You were talking about, I think it was cytokines?
Yeah, the cytokine storm, which is the body's histamine response, where, like I know with the flu, they were talking about, it's where you get the runny nose and the sneezing, the runny nose and watery eyes and sneezing and coughing and everything that is associated with the flu, and then, which of course leads to the bronchitis and pneumonia. And the problem with the cytokine storm is that actually makes the younger and, theoretically stronger children and kids, teenagers, it's actually more dangerous to the youth because the body is capable of mounting a stronger cytokine storm than an older, middle-aged, or an older person can. So, but I have not as yet heard that. We've heard about pneumonias and stuff, but I'm guessing maybe the cytokine storm isn't so much of a part of this thing. But in some cases, we do know that some people get pneumonia, some don't. We're hearing that some people are getting milder cases, other people are getting, stronger responses. And then, they're talking about the receptor sites that, in the lungs that the various, people of different races have, which was everybody's begging the question of a race-specific bioweapon or something like that. So have all that sort of stuff going on. And then the other question that is in my mind is there were reports that supposedly people who end up recovering and then are testing negative can reacquire, get reinfected, recontract, and that when that happens, then it can attack, have an inflammatory effect on the tissues of the body, like liver, the kidneys, or the heart, and it's causing myocarditis, which is supposedly why these supposedly recovered people suddenly drop dead from a heart attack from the myocarditis that they don't even know they have. And Nyman did seem to imply at some point that there is some issue of that sort of tissue inflammation sort of thing. So, I mean, that idea of it being a double whammy changes the whole complexion of the thing, too, because we see the number of recorded recovered cases improving. But then again, if a certain percentage of those who are recovered recontracted and then get, this potentially lethal tissue inflammation, that's a big issue, too. So there's all this stuff that's still up in the air that we're waiting to see. But in terms of the public reaction right now, I think it seems like the people I interact with on a daily basis, everybody's still sort of in wait and see mode because it's somewhere between a nothing burger and oh my God, and nobody's quite sure how to respond just yet.
Well, you're absolutely right. The reactions to the virus are all over the place, and the truth is going to obviously lie someplace in the middle. But you're absolutely right. People who have had the coronavirus, they can be reinfected, which means the body's natural immune system it has been bypassed somehow. And you're right. People who get reinfected have a very high incidence of heart attack. Glenn, we're going to let you go. We got to take a break from identification, and we'll be right back after these few words.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. Hour number 3. The phone lines are now open, 800-313-9443. And getting back to the international news here, Steny Hoyer, who's the House Majority Leader, is calling on American college students to serve like Israeli soldiers on their campuses fighting against boycott, divestment, and sanctions. And he made this speech at the Israel Lobby Conference, AIPAC, on the 1st of this month. America must not be fooled by BDS. So we know who Steny Hoyer is working for, and it's not you, the American people. Over in Israel, they've demolished the homes of 2 Palestinians who are currently on trial for the murder of a 17-year-old Israeli. Now, first of all, there are 2 problems. One, these 2 Palestinians have not been convicted, although I don't hold out much hope for them. But in the second, this is a form of collective punishment. These 2 Palestinians, if they are convicted for the murder, they're going to go to prison or worse. So you knock down their home, you make their families homeless. That's collective punishment, and that is a war crime. The other problem that we seem to be having over there in Israel is that timely medical treatment for Palestinian prisoners is being denied or at least delayed to the point where many of them simply die in Israeli custody. All righty. There's been another incident of human shield tactics, again, used by the Israelis, and apparently Israeli jets who were striking the Syrian forces used 2 civilian planes as human shields, where they're flying along next side the civilian plane. Nobody wants to shoot at them because they don't want to take the chance of hitting the civilian aircraft. 2 of these civilian planes were forced to change course to the Syrian cities of Homs and Quneitra. So, now, with the appointment of the former U.S., well, he's not former yet, but he will be soon. The appointment of U.S. Ambassador to Germany Richard Grenell to the post of Director of National Intelligence drew a lot of criticism from both sides of the political divide. Mostly people are concerned that the Israel lobby's foothold on the U.S. intelligence apparatus grows even stronger. And the concern there, of course, is that so much of our raw intelligence information is already being forwarded to Israel without any kind of filtration. And that includes corporate executives and political leaders. All right, we're going to take a phone call now. Jim in New York, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Jim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Yeah, I can't believe people are going to get wound up at a Trump versus Biden election. Like that would make a difference. I mean, already people's getting all riled up against Biden and the Trump supporters. And I mean, really, if this reminds me of the Clinton-Dahl election. Remember that?
I remember that one.
I mean, what is there a difference? I they're just. It seems like Biden is like going to be the designated loser, just like Dahl was, just like McCain was. I kind of, I know you won't agree, but I kind of.
No, actually, I do. I actually do. I mean, the incumbent president has a tremendous advantage going into the second term. And so the opposition party, they'll put forward a candidate where it's no big deal if they lose because they're probably not going to come back and run again anyway. And I remember the circumstances under which I got to meet Richard Nixon when I was very, very young. It was after he'd lost to Kennedy, and he was up in New Hampshire coaching Senator Styles Bridges to run against Kennedy for Kennedy's second term. And Styles Bridges lived just a few houses down from us. And after he was done there, Nixon would come on over. He was friends with my grandfather, who was a World War I hero. And Nixon would show up, and my mother and grandmother would head on out to the bingo parlor because they knew what was going to happen. They'd both get into the turkey nip and spend the night bitching about them damn Kennedy boys.
That's very interesting. Did you meet Nixon?
Well, I met him, but I was a little kid at the time, and I didn't really know much about him except he'd been the vice president, and I didn't get a good feeling from him. What can I tell you?
You had a good. Your radar was pretty good. Yeah, but I can't believe they're already getting wound up. We got to defeat Biden. Why? I mean, on the economy, Biden may be more quote conservative than Trump. He's a corporatist. He's from Delaware. Delaware is like the center of one of the centers of corporate power. So if in New York, I always vote third party because the Democrat wins overwhelmingly. The last Republican to win New York, I think, was Reagan. So just as a protest, I always find the most anti-war third-party candidate. I usually, I voted for Nader twice. I voted for Pat Buchanan. Voted for Perot. But, if you put aside the rhetoric and the personality contest, see, that's what it always boils down to, a personality contest.
Yes.
Trump has a very likable personality. He's funny, quick-witted. He's very entertaining. But the policies are what matters. And the fact is that Trump's policies are no different than W. Bush. The only good thing I can say, Trump hasn't started a major war yet.
Emphasis on yet.
Yes, but it's possible after he's reelected, could start one.
There's another possibility. There's another possibility for after he's reelected, because he can't run for a third term. We may actually finally get the Donald Trump that we voted for back in 2016. And he may decide, since he doesn't need any more favors, he doesn't need Sheldon Adelson's money for another election campaign, that he's finally going to do what he thinks the American people want. It's a possibility. And
it is. I would hope so. But it seems so far his policies, and you've got to put aside what he says and just look at the actions of the government while he's been president. There's really been no major changes.
That's true of any politician. Ignore what they're saying and look how they vote and look at what they do.
Yes. There's been no major changes in immigration or the foreign policy, which I've read that we've bombed more people under Trump than Obama. So the war machine keeps going on. And, they claim he got rid of NAFTA, but he replaced it with something just as bad. And some argue worse. It has all this LGBT stuff in it now. So,
Well, that's mostly coming from the other side.
So I'm not getting caught up. It's entertaining. One way I hope Trump loses to Biden just to punish him. But I really have no rooting interest, you know. But if you're a Trump supporter, which I respect, you know, like Tom, I agree with Tom. I just don't think he's going to get these policies through Trump. But you know, I respect people's opinion. You know, that we're big boys. Vote how you choose. But you know, I suspect, you know, with all the voter fraud, it's almost like it's just a show for the people. And you know, the Democratic establishment, they'd rather have Trump win over Sanders. Some of them have even said it. They've let the cat out of the bag. They don't want Sanders because, you know, they're multimillionaires too. They don't want to lose their wealth. Sanders, right? But I think Biden's going to win.
Well, I disagree. I think Trump is going to win, and like I said earlier,
I think Biden's going to beat Sanders. I mean, he won't beat Trump.
Yeah. At this point, you know, Sanders is being handed his hat and shown the door.
Yeah. I feel bad for Sanders. I don't agree with him, but he seems, on the surface, the most anti-war of the major people left. You know, but you know, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, we got the loony left, right?
Yes.
Then we got the, you know, neocon Republican warmongers. Like I'm supposed to.
Well, no, wait a minute. I mean, yes, the neocon are warmongers, but lately, have you noticed the Democrats are just as enthusiastic about war as the Republicans are? I mean, traditionally, the Democrats were supposed to be the party of the people and the party of peace, and the Republicans were the party of the war. But now they're both pro-war. I mean, every time there's another...
No, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right about that. You're right, but you know, I have no interest. Hey, did you read some Iranian general said that he thinks the coronavirus is a bioweapon
Yes,
released by
we reported that earlier in the show.
I believe it. It's sad that I'm more likely to believe an Iranian general than our own government, but that's where we're at. You know, CIA, they have so much influence on the media that it's sad. You got to go to a RT or a Russian site to get the truth. But I believe it. I called last week. I said I think it is a bioweapon. And the usual suspects, of course, the CIA and the Mossad. But let's hope it... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, again, a lot of people are commenting on the fact that the two countries hardest hit by this COVID-19 are the two countries that the United States considers to be serious threats, China and Iran.
Yes. So to me, it couldn't be more obvious. And that's an act of war.
Of course it is. The advantage of a biological attack is you can't trace it back to its source usually.
Yes. But let's hope it, you know, dies down in a couple months, and let's hope for the best. But thank you for taking my call, and have a great day, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot for the phone call. Yes, hope for the best, but prep for the worst. And we had another caller earlier in the show talking about going down to the big box store and stuff is already selling out. And we're starting to actually see that a little bit around here. So, you know, things like toilet paper, cleaning supplies, rubber gloves, things like that. They're already in short supply. All right, so let's talk about the economic news here. Now, this has been a real roller coaster of a week. We had these huge upshoves on Monday and Wednesday. Tuesday was a major fall. Today was a major fall. At one point, the Dow was down over 1,100 points. It closed 900 something down. So to me, this signals that blaming it on the coronavirus is an absolute blind, because the concern over coronavirus didn't appear on Monday, vanish on Tuesday, appear on Wednesday, and vanish again today, or reappear again today. So I think it's just, we're seeing the market's instability and its fragility. And we may see it go up again tomorrow, that being Friday, and they want a happy ending. But basically, this has been the worst downturn going back to February 24th, which is when this began. This has been the Dow's worst week since the Great Recession of 2008. All right, silver prices are starting to gain. Apparently, there's expanded industrial demand and investment demand for ETFs, coins, and large bars. I remember back when I was working at Robert Abel and Associates, and we went through a lot of black and white film for what were called animatics, and we would actually sell the exposed film, the developed film, to a company that would recover the silver from the film emulsions for sale. And then all of a sudden, when photography started going digital, demand for silver dropped, and there was actually a corresponding drop in the price of silver. But apparently industrial demand is now back up again. You know, they use silver wire in the Tomahawk cruise missiles. We decorate our weapons better than we decorate our wives. Anyway, apparently China's growth is being downgraded from 5.9% to 3.7%. The U.S. from 2.0% to 1.3%. The rest of the world is equally shaky. So everybody's uncertain about what the future is going to bring here. Tucker Carlson came on out slamming the H-1B resourcing scheme or outsourcing scheme, saying if only our leaders cared to put Americans first. I obviously agree with Tucker Carlson on that one. Meanwhile, over in France, Marine Le Pen is calling for a referendum to stop the submersion of France via mass immigration. And she calls it, of course, the globalist program of mass immigration, which we've been saying exactly the same thing for quite some time. Okay, a 16-year-old Scottish boy has been put in the hospital after a gang of Asian boys assaulted him, dragging him to the ground, and stamped on his head in Glasgow. And following the brutal attack, the teenager was left with serious injuries and had to be transported to Queen Elizabeth University Hospital. He's in stable condition, according to a report by the Scottish police. So tell me, how's that open border thing working out for you over there, huh? And of course, we still have the crisis on the Greek border, where Erdogan has opened up the Turkish border and started sending thousands and thousands of refugees across the border, many of whom are not Syrian. There's African in there. It's a whole mishmash. And they're going on into Europe and saying, you've got to live your life like we had back at home. Well, if what you had back at home was really all that great, why aren't you still there? This cuts to the heart of what I call the filtering process, because migration is a filtering process. You don't get the best of the people from those source countries. The best of those people, they stay right where they are. They've got good incomes. They've got friends. They've got connections to the society. Nobody's after them. What we get are people who couldn't make it in their home countries, people who are fleeing prosecution, people who are carrying communicable diseases and are being told that they're going to get free medical care when they get to Europe, or for that matter, the United States. So right now, Hungary, Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia are pledging to help Greece deal with their current border crisis. This is being complicated by the fact that now the Turkish police are using tear gas on the Greek police to try and get the border open. We're going to take a phone call now from Rick in Florida. Aloha, Rick. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Mike, and I want to thank you for all you do, and it is such a pleasure to be able to listen to you in the afternoons while recuperating from major spinal surgery. It basically reconstructed half my spine. Yeah, half my spine. T4 all the way down to T5. Laminectomies, decompressions, fusions with Godiva, and then some nice stem cells to lay down afterwards with rods and screws, 22. But
boy, you're
anyway,
going to have trouble getting through the airport metal detectors with that.
No, titanium.
Oh, titanium.
Yeah. That's a good commodity to own too. Anyway, I just wanted to chime in. I'm a 9/11 survivor responder, And I'm seeing many of the similarities with the handling of this coronavirus. I feel strongly it's been around here for 6 months. I think people have passed from it, been treated for it. I've seen it happening in hospitals down here, and its similarities with influenza A, the flu, respiratory, walking pneumonia, things of that nature are so close that what people have to realize, and they did it to us in 9/11, they didn't pass the Zadroga Act till July 2011. For those 10 years, our 9/11 illnesses and cancers were ignored.
Yes.
And there were no medical information provided by the CDC or the FDA or any of these agencies out to the hospitals or the AMA, the Medical Association, which would go out, and this is how they would function in their offices in the hospitals. If these symptoms exist, ask if they're a survivor, responder, fireman, policeman.
Hey, Rick?
And that was most likely, yes.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsors.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed the newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
The newspaper? Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, a majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper does not give out the important attention on what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington, too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the seven seas, yeah, I want to be a pirate.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. We're talking with Rick in Florida, a 9/11 survivor, first responder, dealing with some of the aftermath of that. And could you just sort of...
Mike?
Yes, you're on the air. You're on the air.
Okay, no, I couldn't hear your voice. Yeah, sure. They waited 10 years. It wasn't until July 2011 the Zadroga Act was passed. Those 10 years, tens of thousands of victims, from responders to firemen to policemen to residents to employees, died. Every year I'd get pneumonia for like 3 months, 6 months. You'd go to the doctor. They treat you for that. They pump you full of Cipro or Levaquin, which are fluoroquinolones filled with fluoride. As you know, it's toxic. The FDA has black box warnings on them now. Anyway, so you were getting treated this way with massive steroid doses and Cipro, the fluoroquinolones, which were destroying your nerves, your muscles, tearing down your immune system and destroying you, and basically making you wither away. My point is, everybody that was dying, their deaths were being recorded as pneumonia, respiratory, things of this nature. They were not putting related to 9/11, not related to 9/11 cancer, not related to 9/11 diseases. I'm saying this because they did it also with Gulf War syndrome, where the military were actually the guinea pigs that Cipro was fast-tracked through with a waiver under the Emergency Powers Act in 1991, which allows them to bypass 10 years of clinical trials and speed something through. And they used the military as the guinea pigs, and they would juice them all up with Cipro because of anthrax, remember. So they suffered from that. You go back to Agent Orange, Vietnam. 10 years, they didn't acknowledge it. And many died, and their deaths were not recorded as being associated with it. Where am I going with this? I'm seeing it happen right in front of our eyes. No testing kits? Well, if you don't have a testing kit, it's not going to come up as that. You're not going to have to put out and issue memos and writings and medical information to the AMA, to the hospitals, these symptoms, ask them these questions, did they travel abroad, blah, 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 and then you categorize them in there. So they would be deaths related. And I apologize. It's hard for me right now with my spine. But it's so good to be able to sit there and relax in the afternoon and listen to good cognitive and critical thinking skills being exercised on the show with good comprehensive reading skills and things of that nature. But you don't have testing kits. You're not going to have tests being done that are going to come back with these results. And you're just going to have doctors saying it's the flu. Oh, it's respiratory. Oh, it's pneumonia. Oh, you have a sinus infection. Oh, it's bronchitis. Oh, it's allergies. And that's my point. And the elderly, they go down and they just record it as expected. Older, they couldn't handle it. Their lungs filled up, pneumonia, and things of that nature. So you are artificially suppressing, one, the problem, the numbers, and what is actually going on. Okay? And I just wanted to contribute that. There's many other things, but we've been here before, and they're very good at this. I lived it, and it's scary.
It is very scary, and you're absolutely right. You know, when they're starting out, they don't have the test kits, then they don't really know how many people have got COVID-19. And so people who are dying of it, they're, you know, the cause of death is simply written off. And it's a way of covering up the problem. And until they decided they needed it, you know, to make an issue out of it and get us all afraid and wound up and getting ready to buy a vaccine blindly.
Amen. And that kills you too. So just juice up your immune system, practice good hygiene, beware where you go, shop like you said, Mike. That's the way to do it. I'm ordering stuff. I have people doing it for me because I can't drive right now, as you can imagine. But
yes.
Again, it's practicing good hygiene, and don't stick your hands in food like Bloomberg does, and do those type of things that are very repulsive and vile. But, you know, I'm curious to see how this is going to affect the president's rallies as we go forward, because you're not going to be able to keep the cover on this hot pot right now. It's boiling. And as soon as you get them, because I have a sister who is a superintendent of schools in New York, and she said, it's blowing up there. It's blowing up. And look, once you have a kid going in and it starts to hit, reality hits, they're not going to be sending them to school. And then your schools are going to shut down. All your tourism coming up on spring break, somebody brought it up. You're going to see how that's going to affect it. And here's you have these clowns that do these shows and call themselves conservatives, but all they are is babbling, rambling concoctions of nothingness coming from mouthpieces paid to do that. I mean, it was about a week ago a clown said that it's 2% and it's like the flu. This is the same clown that said all the oil, the 100 million barrels of oil in the Gulf of Mexico would just evaporate from the sun. But people forget these things that these guys say, But my point is, true conservatives, libertarians, Americans, responsible adults, honest with integrity, address the problem, explain the problem, educate the population, and say, roll up our sleeves, let's hold hands, and let's tackle this like we got to the moon and like we did the space shuttle.
Okay,
What we
Rick.
see is YouTube basketball.
Rick, we got to take a commercial break. I'm going to have to let you go. I hope you feel a lot better. You'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs, memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
women and children alike.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. We're going to go back to the phones to Tony in upstate New York. Aloha, Tony. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. I'm glad to hear you back, and you sound amazing. And I do want to talk about a couple things. But first and foremost, you have the best show. And while you were away, I tried so hard to find something comparable, and there is just nothing. So maybe you guys can market a little bit better because, like I said, you have an amazing show.
Thank you.
Now, yes, getting back to the flu, and I want to talk about the Spanish flu. There's a disease called Reye's syndrome, Reyes. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't actually.
Check it out because there are several researchers that attribute the vast majority of deaths during the 1918 flu to an overuse of aspirin, which causes the exact same symptoms that people were dying of at that time. And they didn't have an epidemic until the Surgeon General came out and recommended aspirin as a treatment for the flu. And it was from then on that the mortality rate exploded. And it happened up until, I want to say, the 70s, where they stopped prescribing aspirin to children who were just getting over a flu or any kind of viral infection. Aspirin is deadly if you are just getting over a viral infection. So it's a fascinating thing, and it's probably one of the most unknown thing to a lot of people is this illness killed a lot of people. It's called Reye's syndrome. So second of all, the CDC and the World Health Organization, who are putting out these statistics, are fraught with fraud and deception when you have people like the World Health Organization that recommended Tamiflu for fighting the swine flu or SARS or any of these other pandemics, when the Tamiflu has been shown to be barely effective at best and damaging, deadly at worst. And that was a big fraud that was brought to light. You know, when researchers pointed out that the World Health Organization was spending billions and billions of dollars on this stockpiling of Tamiflu. And then you have the CDC, which owns several patents for vaccines and is responsible for us not being able to get a comparison study between vaccinated and unvaccinated populations. So what do you think about that?
Well, I do know about the CDC having patents to some 30 different vaccines, and every time they patent another one, it gets added to that list of mandatory childhood vaccines. And so it's a big moneymaker for them.
Yeah. And, you know, the World Health Organization, I'm sure, profited off of the Tamiflu racket that they had going on.
Well, Roche Pharmaceuticals was made out, you know, and in the end, it was found out that Tamiflu was less effective than acetaminophen.
Yeah, the recovery rate was improved by, like, I want to say 10 hours on average from people. Literally, it was that little or something thereabout. But considering the cost of the drug and the side effects of the drug, which are extensive, for those that don't know, Tamiflu can be very toxic to people. So when you weigh everything out, is it worth it? And most doctors say, no way is it worth taking Tamiflu. But they recommended it, stockpiled it, and it's just quackery. And people need to realize that these medical professions that are putting out these statistics, can they be trusted? I guess, you know, we'll wait and see. But, you know, it's something we've heard many, many times in the past. And I hope, you know, that's the case this time. But, I mean, logic would say, you know, this is the modus operandi of these people. So anyway, I just wanted to leave you with that and have people look at Reye's syndrome for the many deaths during the influenza epidemic. in 1918. Okay?
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call.
Yes, keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to switch over to Kelly in Austin. Aloha, Kelly. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Okay, well, first off, I don't buy the Rise syndrome hypothesis. So that wouldn't explain the 50 million and up to 100 million or more deaths related to the flu in 1918. And most of those occurring in countries like India, 20 million in India, no telling how many in China and Japan and elsewhere. It's an interesting hypothesis, but it really doesn't, I think, stack up against what we know about how many people around the world had the flu and ended up dying. I call really to address a point that I think I think it was Joe from Tennessee brought up earlier today, and that was about the inability of Democrats to accept an election loss. And I've thought about that for a while. His comments today made me think a bit more about that. I think what's happened with Democrats is that they've developed a sense of entitlement. They think they're entitled to run the government. They don't think they're entitled to govern. They think they're entitled to rule. And when an election doesn't go their way now, what you see is this childish reaction across the board with Democrats behaving like spoiled brats. Observe their behavior at the State of the Union address. Every State of the Union address that Trump has made, especially the last one. And then now Schmuck Schumer's behavior in front of the Supreme Court. Democrats encouraging people to roust out conservatives and harass them wherever they are. There's something has happened to that party. It's gone off track. And I think it's because they fully expect that they see themselves as the entitled rulers of this country. And when something, again, doesn't go their way, they react like that. And I'm hoping that their behavior is turning a great many people off, but really it ought to concern Americans to see people like Chuck Schumer or Schmuck Schumer and hearing lunatics like Maxine Waters and that little freak from Boston, from Brooklyn, go off as they do. This is a party that has a serious problem right now. They can no longer, it seems, try to appeal to the voters to make a compelling case for what they want to do with the country. They have to resort to thuggish tactics now, and I don't see that as a party that has much of a future if that's what's happened to them, and if those are the tactics that they're employing.
You know, plus they're trying to appeal to the fringe of society, you know, with the LGBTQ. And I don't mean to insult the LGBTQ people, but you know, you're not the mainstream is the reality.
Well, certainly they aren't, but I mean, you can trace this back to the Democrat Party's decision about 10 years ago to abandon the working class white male and in favor of appealing to special interest groups. And you can see this in how the Democrat Party, how Democrats are running now. They all appeal to special interest groups, and that I think is going to it hurt them certainly in 2016. But it's an outgrowth of a decision that they made, I think, because they realized that with the way the country was going, that they needed to appeal to special interest groups in order to achieve their goals. To me, it's a self-destructive policy. The Republicans certainly should avoid that. Any other political party should avoid that tactic or that strategy. It will lead to nowhere, and you can see what's happened now. This country is suffering from a sense of division that I have never seen in my lifetime. It's the first time I've seen this, and I've read commentaries about what's going on in the country today, and historians are likening this to what happened, likening this to the attitude in the country prior to the Civil War. So it's a distressing situation we find ourselves in, and it's certainly discouraging to see a major political party behaving as it does. I hope, I'd like to see them correct themselves and go back to the political party as it was under John F. Kennedy, but I don't expect that to happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
They're fragmented. John F. Kennedy was the last real Democrat president that party put up. And since then, they've had just a series of jackasses. The Republicans haven't put up much better than that either. but it's it's discouraging to think that the Democrats have pushed this country as far left as they have, as frantically as they have in the last 20 years in particular, and to see them go off the rails as they have in the last since 2016. I hope they're just roundly punished at the polls in November.
It would be nice if the GOP were able to take back the House, and it's looking like if there's a concerted effort to do that, that it may happen.
I hope so, and I hope we can send some Republicans to Congress who are not rhinos. Send some real Republicans to Congress. So that we got to find people to run,
yes,
and then people who will adhere to the Constitution, and who don't regard loyalty to the party above loyalty to the Constitution.
Or loyalty to the American people.
Yes, well, loyalty to the American people to me is loyalty to the Constitution. And the Democrat Party has lost that, and there are a lot of Republicans I don't think who are much loyal to the Constitution either. Good show again today, Mike. I've enjoyed many of the comments that your callers have made.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call, and we're going to switch over to Mark in New York. Aloha, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey there, Mike. Thanks for taking my call again. Always a pleasure to be on your show, and I'm very grateful. And I had a couple of quick rants before I wanted to call in about some of the authors that the guys called in about and why I looked into it. But again, I agree with what you and everybody else says about Schumer.
Mm-hmm.
I know on Rush's show today they were bringing up Trent Lott at Strom Thurmond's birthday party, 100 years old. He mentioned something, and boom, he was out of work the next day. Couldn't have a guy like that in a minority whip or something like that, you know. And I just think the families, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, should be concerned, and it's an outrage. And I think we're going to hear more about it. It's just got to heat up a little bit once people really see him pointing, yelling, and pointing at the front door of the judicial halls. It's crazy, you know. But anyway, I was thinking of what about a new website for the guys and stuff like that? I've been looking into Vagrant and stuff for WordPress, and it's really fancy. But then I thought, what about you and Johnny Stead's going on like a tour, having events and giving lectures? I mean, maybe nobody could come to you, but by having an alt-right tour and bring along Claire and have her do the music, you advertise on radio. Sign up on the web if interested. See if there's any interested. Finding out doing regional events, and then maybe having a website just for that. It's just an idea. Again, it's Scotchbot, Vagrant, and GitHub, where maybe developers out in the audience might want to join you and keeping up. A lot of cool plugins for WordPress, and it's fairly robust. But I don't know if it would stand up to some of the hackers that you get, you know. But it would be wise to consolidate various media tour, meet and greet, and receive lectures from yours truly, from you, John, and some of and Steve Elkins, and
yes,
the other people that I don't have time. Might be if people do it right.
Well, one of the reasons that Claire and I moved from Hawaii to Indiana is so that I'd be centrally located, so it would be easier and more economical for me to get out to some of these symposium and conventions and conferences. And of course, I'm still in recovery from my PMR. But at some point down the road, I'm going to be making a point of trying to get on out there and press the flesh a little bit and do some presentations to live audiences, which means I can use bad language.
Yeah, that would be great to hear. You know, and then you talked vaccines today, and I always found it interesting that I had to wait to middle age to hear that 75% of our immunity comes from our digestion.
Yes.
And every time I use an antibacterial soap, it irks me because just a little bit. You know, there's always a residue in my dishes, in the pots and pans, and you're ingesting that. So I guess it's good. I only heard about probiotics in the past decade, like how important they were. I'm trying to do more. And then I think that why aren't the doctors you never hear about them doing like how water, they have dual osmosis water. Why
Yes.
aren't they coordinating a pill that goes, you swallow, and and then after a day or two or a week, you come back and you get some kind of vaccine, which I think they just got lucky, and now they're just going to town. They should be really working in the stomach and seeing what cultures work. I think, if it's only 25%, so it's really the body. But that's just my idea. And then, and herb-wise, garlic, horseradish, and ginger is known for attacking viruses hiding around your bodies, which is interesting. So if you do have a virus or something, I have one of those with the masticating juicers that'll smush, greens down to a fine, nectar almost, So I use garlic, horseradish, and ginger with lemon and pour it in hot water and stuff if I'm really sick, with a little honey. That was right out of a naturopath book, who's the liver person I was telling you about in the past. That was my rant. At this time, I'll talk a little bit, without going into the minutia, of Kelly Greenhill's Weapons of Mass Migration, which on Wiki they changed the refugees as weapons to be politically correct, because her book is already, out of date. It's from 2011, but again, here it is. She's an East Coast, Tufts, Harvard, political science. She's not a physicist, biochemist, or medical science. She's a political scientist. And I guess that specializes in bovine excrement, flip-flopping, double-speak, and corruption.
That's
Specialties are migration, displacement, foreign policy, blah, blah, blah. Now, her book, again, I did the little speed reading kind of thing where you look at the person, and the questions are, like, how much of her idealism is in there? And the 2 out of the 6 chapters, 2 of them, the last one, talks about her conclusions and policy implications right there.
Mark, I got to go. We got to take
Okay, sure.
commercials. More callers waiting on the line. We'll be right back.
All right, cheers. Thank you.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Many people tell us about their experience with Extendivite. Just listen to what Glenn has to say.
Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Extendivite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75%. Dandruff, almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out. I would skip a beat. Very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
How would you like to earn an extra $10,000 or more a month from the comfort of your home? We show you how to win with a home-based business opportunity. This could be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. Work from home, full-time or part-time. Plus, you'll never have to talk to anyone. Our professional sales team closes all your sales for you, and you keep 70% of all the sales made. You could be earning money while you're sleeping, shopping, working out, wherever you are, day or night. Our system goes to work for you. You can make a great income without any special computer skills or sales training. Plus, you get paid fast, within just 24 to 48 hours after our professional sales team closes a sale for you. Let us help you eliminate your financial concerns. You could be earning enough money to pay off debt, buy a house, a car, or whatever the case may be. We've got you covered. If you'd like to add an extra $10,000 or more a month to your portfolio, and you would like to know exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it, go now to www.getstartedwithus.com. That's www.getstartedwithus.com. Again, that's www.getstartedwithus.com.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far 5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. Last segment of our program today. Donald Trump is doing his little town hall on Fox News right now. And a reminder that Don Wiskin of Extendivite will be John Stadtmiller's guest on his show, which immediately follows mine. Let's go back to the phones to Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Mike, who's the next caller behind me? Because I'll drop if they have a good question.
It's Rick in Arizona, and he wants to talk about the virus.
Okay, yeah, drop me. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I want to hear
All
about
right.
that. So.
Okay, fine. Let's go to Rick in Arizona. Aloha, Rick. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Rick, are you there? Okay, looks like we lost Rick along with Dustin here.
Oh, we lost Dustin there.
I can hear me now.
Oh, okay. Rick, you there? You're on the air. What's on
I
your
didn't
mind?
hear the beep. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to let you know that Clark County has their first coronavirus patient. It's a black guy, not a dealer that's at the blackjack table that just got back from Beijing. People, you got to quit believing this crap. This thing is as fake as the tits in that town. Vegas is the busiest interchange of Chinese people in America. It's the young Chinese crowd. They go back twice a year. These people are all over the city. The planes are still landing at McCarran Airport, even though Alex Jones today said that Trump banned all flights from China 3 weeks ago. Guy's an absolute magical liar. This is fake. There's a movie by Vincent Price called Last Man Standing, and you'll see they got this whole thing straight out of Hollywood. Just check it out. Don't believe in this thing. It's an active shooter that doesn't kill children. Look, kids don't get the virus. They crawl all over each other. People, this is to bring down the economy and not blame a certain ethnic race of people for destroying the economy. They're going to bring it down, and they're going to blame the virus, and you just watch. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, you got it. And the phone lines are open. We're almost to the end of the show, however. Researchers in Antarctica have uncovered a thriving ecosystem of microbial life. They drilled down through the Antarctic ice sheet to an underground, actually under ice lake, 2,600 feet below the surface. And they're saying, the life that's down there has been following a separate, distinct evolutionary path for all this time. And that this may give them a hint at how life evolved on Earth overall. Speaking of life, apparently NASA's Curiosity rover has discovered organic molecules on the red planet. Ooh, there might be life on Mars. Well, take it from me, there is. And apparently these chemicals called thiophenes are important molecules. They contain both carbon and sulfur, which are essential for life. And back at Voyager 2, they've managed to clean up the little glitch that they had with the power problem. And all 5 remaining instruments on Voyager 2 are back to gathering science data out there in interstellar space. So that is something amazing to think about. When my tenure at NASA was before Voyager was even launched. So, wow, it's just really out there. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our program. There's the music. Stay tuned for John Stadtmiller. Remember, Don Wiskin of Extendivite is going to be his guest tonight. Please spread the word of RBN. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. We really need to grow our audience, and we need your help to do it. You're all Rivero Rangers. Just get on out there and evangelize our truth-telling. Please donate to RBN. Please donate to whatreallyhappened.com. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday. The Lady Claire will be joining us in hour number 3. And Aloha America.